Welcome back, guys, to another Vlogmas video. It is me again in the kitchen. I have one more recipe for you this month. Merry Christmas. And today I am going to attempt for the first time a carnivore bread recipe. I do not know how this is going to turn out. I am a little bit nervous because I have the basic bones of the recipe, but I'm going to try to make it a sweet bread. And I don't know how the binding and the thickness and everything is going to work, but we're going to quickly go through this. I'll tell you the raw ingredients that the recipe calls for and what we're going to do with it that will be a little bit different. So searching through the internet, again, there are different recipes out there. I finally found one I think I can work with. So we're going to get started. First, I need 12 whole eggs beaten. It's a lot of eggs. I'm going to add this to our mixing bowl right in. The idea here is to blend these raw ingredients into a food processor, but I don't have a food processor, so it's going to be what it is. Alright, our eggs are mixed together. Next, we have 1.5 cups of small cottage cheese, not cream cheese. We're not making cheesecake. I have tried to beat this as thinly as I possibly can to get the curd out. We're going to try to see how this blends together. Not having a food processor could be a total fail. So just keep that in the back of your mind that ideally you want to blend all of this in a food processor. All right, 1.5 cups. That goes into the mixing bowl as well. Okay, and then our last ingredient for our solids is going to be not brown sugar. I wish, right? And I hope you can see that. This is 1.5 cups of pureed, because I beat it by hand, lightly packed, not tightly packed, baconettes, or pork rinds. I had to think for a second because I don't have a bag in front of me, but if you look over this shoulder, you can see I've got 3 bags back here, along with 60 eggs, because this recipe alone took 12. So anyway, 1.5 cups. I actually, since I didn't have a food processor, I used an old potato masher and I just ground it up until I filled 1.5 cups of our measuring cups and made it as finely, as I possibly could. So that's our raw ingredient. The last thing is 1.5 cups of melted butter. And what I did was I actually browned the butter. So I kept it on the stove a little longer. The reason for that, again, is because I'm going to make a sweet bread. So I want the caramelization of this butter in here to kind of deepen, richen, wow, that smells good, the flavor of the bread. Okay, so that is all that the recipe technically requires. I'm going to tell you how we're going to zhuzh it up a little bit. We've got a new non-calorie sweetener. Actually, Julie brought it home that I want to try. This is a sugar cookie. I'm going to add a little bit of that. I'm also going to add a little bit of our clover honey we've talked about and used before. And we're going to see how the dough tastes before I put it into the baking pan. We're going to bake this for 60 minutes minimum. I'm going to have to toothpick it to see if it's baked all the way through, but 60 minutes or 375 degrees in the oven. So let me get the salt in. Dash of our sea salt. I'm going to do 1/4 cup of honey. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm really hoping it turns out well. With gluten sensitivity and with sometimes we miss bread. I really wanted to find a recipe to be able to substitute. And we can tolerate a little bit of sourdough, but we just don't really want the carbs if we can avoid it. I'd much rather have an animal product go in here. So 1/4 of a cup of honey is going into our mixing bowl. And then we're going to do 1/3, just like we use for our cheesecake, of our non-calorie sweetener. And that is going to be the sugar cookie. Mix this up a little bit. I hope the consistency stays. That's what I'm really crossing my fingers on, because I've added more liquid than what it called for technically. So 1/3 of a cup of this will go in. I'm not adding vanilla, because what I'm hoping to do, and I'll update you when we do, is make a buttercream icing with just butter, a little bit of heavy whipping cream, and some vanilla. Maybe a little bit of honey. Cross your fingers on that. I get in here and it's like a science experiment for me. I absolutely love doing that. So that's kind of how I like to play. Give me a minute. I'm going to mix this up and I'll be back to show you. We're going to go into a 9x5 baking pan that I have lined with some parchment paper. I'll meet you right back here very soon. Okay, I am back. I've got my mixture. I hope this is going to turn out okay. I'm going to taste it just to see. I don't have any idea what this is supposed to taste like or is going to taste like. I've had something like that before. There's a little bit of a savory, and then it ends with a little bit of sweet. You can't tell it's a sugar cookie flavor. You can taste a little bit of the honey. I think I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of our vanilla into it, and then we will pour it in. I think that's going to be the best thing we can do. Okay, we'll pour it into our baking pan. Don't want this to get thin because I want it. It's not going to rise. Obviously, there's no yeast in this, but let's see if we can get it poured in. Okay, so the whisk came out pretty clean. That's good. Like I said, we've got a wax paper lined 9x5. All of it goes straight in. Wow, that is going to fill it to the top. Look at this, guys. I am at the very tippy top of our lined dish. Okay, so this is going into the oven, 375, 1 hour. I'll see you back very soon and show you what this is going to look like and what we may do with it to top it with a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of icing, let's say. All right, look at this. This came out of the oven. I had told you that it was supposed to be cooked for 60 minutes unless a toothpick could go through it cleanly. 40 minutes, and you can see that I hope this is done. The toothpick came out clean in multiple places. So I'm just going to, gosh, this is heavy. I'm just going to pop this out. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to cut it. We're not going to taste test it just yet. Cross your fingers. Let's hope. I don't know how much a big enough slice is. Let's just go. I apologize. Don't hate me for not having a bread knife. It almost baked all the way through. I think that's a little underbaked right there. But I couldn't let it get any darker up top. But yeah, it looks like it's a little bit underbaked right here in the middle. All right, so I've got Jules in here with me. She's been editing some videos. I told you guys I was going to make an icing, and I didn't. I ended up making a honey butter with just some salted butter, some of that raw honey, and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. I didn't really think I needed to show you that, but this has been chilling in the fridge, And we are going to taste this, if I can get the butter open.
I'm excited about your butter, but can I try the bread without it first?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead, pinch off the piece.
I see that it's a little undercooked, but I think for a bread that is more sweet than savory, that's probably not a big deal. But
it needed to go about 10 more minutes, I think. I'll try, you know what, I'll try it, yeah, without the...
Oh, it's still warm.
You see the, how it... Not different.
This is egg custard pie if egg custard pie was a cake.
Really?
Or a loaf. Yes, this is great. I really like this. How many eggs?
12. 12 eggs.
It doesn't, there's a
Gonna put the butter.
difficult time in the carnivore community making things with eggs that don't come out tasting too eggy. I've tried making muffins and cupcakes before, but this does not taste too eggy at all, but it does, I mean, it does have a bit of a, like an egg custard type flavor, but it's very sweet, and it's not too eggy tasting.
Yeah, here.
So this is your...
This is the butter with the butter with it. My butter's good. The butter's good.
That is some badass butter. Good job.
Give it a try. I'm telling you, this was a half a stick of butter and then honey to taste and 2 tablespoons of vanilla.
This is great. This is really, really good.
I think this one's
I'm
a
proud
win.
of you. This is wonderful. This is going to be at every holiday from now on.
It is, it's a hefty loaf. I mean, it's dense.
How heavy is it?
With a
Oh,
dozen,
wow.
with a dozen eggs.
It
I mean,
feels like a brick.
yeah.
It feels like a whole carton of eggs and then some.
Yeah. All right.
Fantastic job. Good job.
Well, I think that's a win. We can always tinker a little bit. Might not fill it as full next time. Maybe it'll cook all the way through at the 60-minute
Maybe cook it
mark.
a little bit longer. Although this is very, very good.
All right, guys. We'll see you again in another Vlogmas video tomorrow. Have a great day.
Hats off to the chef.